Ah, we made it again against all odds and everything else. But we're back. Anchor baby number one. Let me just pull up something real quick. We're gonna share this real fast, and then we're gonna get right into breaking breaking our foot off into whatever we gotta break it off on. And I'm gonna share this. Tab in the YouTube studio. Bam. Pull this up. Peregrine White. And this isn't who this study is about. This is just to give credence to what I'm saying. So anchor baby number one, as far as the European dudes are concerned, right? At least in Plymouth, we're gonna say. Peregrine White was the first child born in Plymouth Colony, born in November 1620 aboard the Mayflower while it was docked off the coast of Cape Cod. Okay, we can give y'all a little synopsis of his life right here. We're not gonna get carried away. He became known as the first born child of New England and went on to become a prominent farmer and military captain. Peregrine's mother, Susanna, was one of 18 adult women who boarded the Mayflower at Plymouth and one of only three who were at least 6 months pregnant. Stop right there. Now, this is the important part of his life that I need y'all to really get right here, where it says life. Because people always want to give you this bullshit trope that uh folks didn't live long back in the day or didn't, like whatever. You got to understand this is 16 whatever, right? The dude, so he lived, served in the military, farmed, represented the general court, died in 1704 at the age of 83 years and 8 months. That's a good life. No matter how you look at, that's a nice long little stretch, a nice little push. So look, his parents came to America to what? Practice their religious beliefs. His father, William White, died in 1621, and his mother, Susanna, married Edward Winslow, another Mayflower passenger. So he died, and she just moved on naturally, how people do. Women more so than men, but men move on too. So we're not gonna act like men don't do it, but naturally, she was probably a young mother, and you know the history of most adult age males that if they see a single mother, I'm not saying all of them, but there's a lot of them who see that as like easy pickings, like because she's probably more desperate than a chick that's not in that situation, who doesn't need everything to provide just for herself and then another person. So that's just me being, indulgent. However, I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Okay, we're gonna put the name Peregrine is actually, we're not even gonna pull this. Gonna pull. That's it. The name Peregrine is a adult. It's like a male falcon, right on. Because the term falcon is actually a female of the bird. You know, Peregrine should is the more actual, um, like that's the proper name for a male falcon. And it's not even falcon. It's just the male bird is the peregrine falcon. If you wanted to say it like that, but it's not. It's not. But an actual, just straight up falcon is, you know, that's totally different. Anyway, um, so they named him after a bird. Um, Not saying that his mother getting married to the other dude probably prolonged his life, but having somebody there that was stable probably most definitely helped to keep him alive. Um, Now, anchor baby number one. Let's get into the real thing. See him getting all prominent, no, that's cool. But the real anchor baby number one is Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump, for all intents and purposes, so even if you remove it, just however you look at biology, right? Because you can say, oh, you would never have been born if you weren't born to both these people, if that's how you look at it. But if you say that the genealogy is carried through a female, I don't believe in that, per se, but there's people who do. Let's say that you believe that. That means that Donald Trump's mother, who is a Scottish immigrant, gave birth to an anchor baby, who would be Donald Trump. Rewind all that though. Donald Trump's father, Fred Trump, is the son, right on, word, of an actual immigrant himself, Friedrich Trump. So it's always funny when dudes don't understand that. Like, this guy's anchor baby number one. But all these white folks who are here, so they're all the children of anchor babies. The only people who are in this nation who are not anchor babies are black people who were brought here against their will. I need everybody to understand that. Everything else is an anchor baby. That's their claim to being an American. Whatever. In the Newfoundland, Vinland, right? As they try to say that the Vikings were in Canada, they didn't find Canada. Right on. I ain't even gonna get carried away. Canada was always there. Just it's not it's not wise for people to think childish things. Right on. You know, you have to bless the Most High God. You have to curse the devils and the demons, and you have to give alms to those that are in a lesser circumstance than you. That all being said, you have to call a spade, as they like to say it, right? And that's not the pot calling the kettle black. This is for real, like just pointing out something that most people do not know or do not understand. They're having a hard time understanding. Even if I put it in biblical terms, right? Where do the people realize that the children of Israel who were in Egypt, by all accounts, by nationality, where they were born, those are all Egyptian people, even if their ethnicity is still Hebrew, right? It doesn't matter. If you're of a certain ethnicity, born somewhere in a certain nation, your nationality is that nation. Your ethnicity is whatever ethnic group you come from. They're not the same thing. They're not. When you say American, you don't think of a black person. They can say whatever they want to say. When you say American, you typically don't think of a black person. You think of a white person with blonde hair, blue eyes. Not saying that that's how you have to think of it, but that's the way it's been portrayed for the longest. So why would you look at it any other way? Why would anybody look at it any other way? Captain America is a white dude. Superman's a white dude. All their characters that they want to represent them are white people. So I'm not tripping. I'm just saying what it is. The anchor baby is how they got their foothold in this nation. They started claiming rights to the land once they started having children in the land, for sure. Can you hear me? That's how this happened. But because you have to have people there to say, well, we're here, we want our piece too. That because it doesn't work no other way. This is how it works. So when you have people who are just tripping, who just don't get it, like it's like, bruh, nah, man, like you gotta really see this shit the other way. Like you can't. I mean, you can see how you can feel whatever way you want to feel, but the the truth of the matter doesn't ever change. That D. Treasy, Donald Trump, is anchor baby number one. He did what no other actual true anchor baby has ever done. You guys have to realize this dude is uh like 75, 76, whatever he is, right? He's old. Well, look at this nigga. How old is this nigga D. Treasy? I know he's an old nigga. 78. Listen, Trump is 78 years old. So in less than 4 20-year spans or 4 generations, listen to what I'm saying. In 4 generations, this guy's been able to get to the White House twice. And he was born, you got to understand, had his mother not come, okay, if his mother's not from Scotland and she's from somewhere else in the United States, his path to the White House is even easier. You hear what I'm saying? These other groups make concessions to be in Congress, to be in the House of Representatives. They make concessions. They say, we won't do such and such things. We won't involve ourselves in this, that, the third. But it doesn't mean that people still don't get involved in no bullshit. We all know how that goes. But the problem isn't that, though. The problem is that folks don't look at it like it's anchor baby mentality. Right on? He's anchor baby number one. Your boy Trump has to be. I can't think of anybody that's ever been born into the country to a one parent who's one generation in, another parent who's fresh in, and then they become the president all in one hit. I never heard of it. Right on? So let's just pull this up real quick. So that way people can see what I'm talking about. And he trounced Kamala Harris. Trounced her. Now I thought there might have been some funny business, some petty, as my boy Dre would say, but they couldn't pull no bullshit this time. So look, the man got 295 of the Electoral College, right? She got 226. It's been updated as recently as 5:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let me just blow this up real quick. So D. Treasy, obviously he won. Now, even if you add up these 0.4% and give it to her, she still would only have 48.4%, which would not have been enough to match the 50.9. So anyway, she got trounced. Got smacked up. But the thing is, though, is she's no different than Trump. She's an anchor baby. Neither one of her parents is from the States. I don't care what they're studying at, all that. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Anchor baby number one right there, though. There's a nigga right here. Highlighted. D. Treasy. That's anchor baby number one. He ain't got no competition. None. He has zero competition. And people don't want to hear that he's an anchor baby. I don't know why they're angry about that or don't accept it. Just like Kamala Harris is an anchor baby and people can challenge her blackness and this, that, the third, and call her Asian. The thing is, you at least call her Asian. But you're not calling this motherfucker out for being an anchor baby. It's incredulous. So let me get this straight. This dude's mother, not born in America, not American. His father is literally an anchor baby. You're telling me that this nigga's not anchor baby number one? Let it sink in for a half a second. Just really think about it. You ain't never seen this in your life. You'll never see it again. They're trying to end the earth, or at least end all functions of life as we know it as we speak. So don't be surprised on no bullshit. But I'm talking about some real right now. Don't you think it's crazy that anchor baby number one? He's anchor baby number one. There is no close second to this dude. Some of the people who don't realize that some of the first presidents, right? Some of the first dudes to get on in the States like that were barely really Americans. Were they were barely truly Americans. They had straight up like first aunties and first cousins who were literally people who lived in Britain and London and England. This is the truth. This is not this. I'm not capping. This ain't no conjecture or nothing. So you got to realize it's a totally different concept for them. This dude is he's the full-blown essence of an anchor baby. Trump is the equivalent of if a Mexican dude had his grandfather legally get amnesty, come to the States, right? And then damn old I'm sharing this bullshit. He come to the States, and then guess what? He gets with a chick who's from Mexico too, or Guatemala or Venezuela or something like that. It got to be of the similar diaspora though. Boom. Then they have a child. Then that child, uh, uh, Fernando Gomez or whatever, he becomes the president. This is the equivalent, y'all. Everybody would be challenging Fernando Gomez's credentials, but because we live in white heaven, because he has the right skin, as people like to say, the complexion for the protection. Nobody's challenging his merit as an actual true to life American. The people don't understand it. They don't get it. They'll never get it. So because D Treasy is in a situation where now, as anchor baby number one, he's back in the spot that, again, tell me who in recent history, right on, has been able to do that. Be an anchor baby all the way out. There is no question if they're an anchor baby or not. Who? Who the fuck do you know has been able to do that? Let it sink in for just a moment. Do you think they're going to let your black ass go to whatever country, knock up a chick who's not even from there, have a child there that becomes a naturalized citizen, I guess, right? And then, hold on, right, you're just born there yourself. No. That's right. You get with the chick who's not even naturalized herself. Boom, y'all have a baby there. Your baby then goes to go get with a chick who's not from the land. Do you think they're letting that child get to the highest office in the land if you don't really look like those people? Better yet, if you're just not in white heaven, do you think that's happening anywhere other than white heaven? Think about it. Why else would they do that? Why? Why else would they have people in a position where it's like, bruh, this shit don't even make sense? You're telling me that this nigga's not an anchor baby? He fits the whole definition and the guy is not really truly American, is what I'm trying to say. No matter what people want to hear, The dude is not no real life, like true real American. He has no skin in the game. None. His granddaddy was a draft dodger. He was a draft dodger. Like, it's not difficult. It's not hard. But he can readily send somebody to their death or call death on other people. But his own people weren't willing to face down the barrel. You see what I'm saying? He wasn't willing to face down the barrel of an enemy, but he can call for the end of somebody else's life. That's an anchor baby mentality. Only somebody who's fishing like that. Because you're trying to prove yourself. Why? But if you're really this, if you're really who you say you are, what do you have to prove? Think about it. In White Heaven, right now, where I work at, I work with a couple of dudes who, only because we're in White Heaven, do they have what they have. Because I could never imagine going from Washington to Massachusetts and being able to be in a higher position than people born in Massachusetts. Off tops, right off rip. Don't even have to work my way up. They just put me there. I could never imagine it. But in White Heaven, there's this phenomena where as long as you look like the people who are supposed to be in power, it doesn't matter what your last name is. You could have some crazy ass last name. They don't care. As long as you look like the part, they're going to put you in the part. But if you don't look like the part, it doesn't matter how long you've been there. They don't want you. You can only ever be in a service position. And even in the highest level of service, they don't want you to be in any sort of authoritative position. But they'll let the anchor baby, who looks like a white person, who talks the talk that they want to hear, right on. This dude is a walking, talking caricature of what they believe an American to be. How they gonna be mad because he said grab him by the pussy? This is who these pervert ass white boys are. Right. Thank you. We live in a perverted ass society. So how could people even be mad that anchor baby number one came up? No matter what you think about Trump, he's anchor baby number one. It's indisputable. You cannot argue it. You can try, it's just not wise. Because when you start to think about, like, damn, what other person do I know of who's a president in the last 50 years, 60 years that I could think of that had a parent that was not born at all in the US? They're not at least here for 2 or 3 generations. You got to understand, Trump's children are only third generation through him. Some of his children are really first generation because their mothers are not American. Think about it. Anchor babies. This dude is an anchor baby who had more anchor babies. And I just look at it because I'm like, damn, like, bruh, they're not going to let no nation that I could think of right now would let me as a black man come up in there with my black wife, have a bunch of black babies, bring in another black person, have black babies with them, and then let that black person take over the whole political system where they're at the highest level of the power structure. It's not happening. It's not. I don't give a fuck what Lottie Dodd. Look, nigga, what kind of nigga? I don't know what kind of paradigm you live in, nigga. That's some straight nigga, some la la land bullshit. You cannot tell me I'm lying right now. Even the birds agree. Damn it. Okay. You cannot be from somewhere else and only in 2 generations take over the hot in okay in one whole lifetime, which is his, but in 4 generations and in 2 cycles. Think about this. 8 years ago he was barely 70. So people are like, what does that mean? That's only here for 7 decades. Trump could have been born somewhere else. He just wasn't born somewhere else. Right. He was born here. So it changes how people like, they can't understand, they can't see it like, bruh, this dude D Treasy really is an anchor baby. And I have to stress it. That for him to have challenged Obama is more American than he is. Right on? His mother's people ain't no first generation Americans. Right. That automatically makes Obama more American than Trump. If you want to just talk about nationality. But once again, he talked about his father, though. Birth certificates and all this other bullshit. His father, his grandfather was a German immigrant. So who is he? Like, once again, do people really think this dude is... No, he only wants certain kind of immigrants over here. If you white skin and all that shit, you good. But if you a nigga or nigga like, and do you think Trump is talking about sending people from Ukraine back to Ukraine? You talking about sending immigrants home? No. He's not even talking about. He's not even talking about sending people back to Afghanistan. No. He's talking about sending niggas back to El Salvador, Guatemala, Peru, Costa Rica, Honduras, Venezuela, all of it. Gotta get the fuck out of here. Back to Haiti you go, nigga. Right. Now they can be mad. Or they can look at the strategic effort that's going on. See, when he said what he said about them muddying up the bloodlines and shit, he was telling the truth from his understanding. His German ancestors came over here and married in, and they didn't darken up the white gene pools. They got married to lighter skinned white women. Right. And whiten them all the way up. Now, I do believe that Donald Trump Jr. is not his real biological son. I believe that's the gardener's son, but that's neither here nor there because nobody in his direct bloodline has brown eyes. And no matter what you tell me about chimerism and microchimerism, like typically 2 blue-eyed people do not have a brown-eyed baby unless both of them have a parent with brown eyes. And then anything goes as far as those type of things happen. But no, nope. He doesn't even really look like Trump. He just shaves up his beard and has his hair slicked back like Trump. But any white boy could do that and fucking claim to be his son or a white looking dude. But that nigga looked like the gardener's son. He looked like the gardener's fucking son on everything. People like Anchor Baby #1 me Tom. I don't know why this is so important. Because who do you think is trying to take over? The next one up is one of these other dudes. Dudes like JD Vance couldn't have gotten to the White House all by himself. He couldn't have. Even if he was born here. And his people might have been born here. Just see how different that shit goes? See how different the lives are? See, Trump used Vance for that reason. Used him. It's not a mutual relationship. Because JD Vance is everything that Trump could never be. Trump could never be a veteran. Trump could have never been raised in the sort of situation that JD Vance was raised in, and for him to have come out like JD Vance did. And I'm not even saying nothing good about JD Vance. I'm just saying that whatever you think an American is, JD Vance is more of that than Trump will ever be. They can't say American is an ideal. Nigga, it's how long you been in this nation. Anybody who can say that they're related to Peregrine White can be like, shit, nigga, my motherfucking people, man, they some of the first white folks up in this bitch. And can't no white dude who just got here last generation, what can he say? Excuse me. They daddy or their mama from Croatia or some shit like that. Of course they speak good English. They went to an American school. I grew up with dudes who are my age. Russians, Moldovans, Ukrainians, some Czechs, some Yugoslavians, all them dudes, Armenians, all them dudes from the Eastern Bloc. Okay, look, of course the Turks. Turks, all of them Turks. Or at least have some sort of Turk blood or Turk relations somewhere down in the shit. You know what I'm talking about? So, but anyway, um, these niggas, all of them, every last one of them type of dudes have like, well, not all of them, but they all have like an accent. Like you can hear it. You can hear their fresh accent. These dudes are my age. Their children, though, some of these dudes who I know have children, their children speak perfect English. You would never know that they go home and speak another language. Unless you heard them talking on the cell phone to their mom or whoever, but you would never know they speak another language. That's how the Anchor Baby shit works. See, these dudes think that they're like spies or like secret agents, like, oh, I speak English and Spanish, or I speak Russian and English and Spanish, or I speak Chinese and English, or whatever language in English. And they think they're doing something. But really, you're a bona fide Anchor Baby. That's it. Trump is an Anchor Baby. Whenever people get done. Do you think Trump could have been president even one time if he was black? Born from the same circumstances. Listen to my point. Do you think he's president once if if his grandfather's an immigrant from Haiti, comes here, becomes a successful businessman, marries a black chick from Cuba or something like that, right? Goes back to Haiti, like, we don't want you. Comes to America, names his children super American names. They ain't speaking no French, none of that shit. No Spanish in this house, nothing. All English now. Hold on. That child then goes on to marry a black woman from, let's say, Africa. Do you believe that that child that's born of the two people who are Haitian and Cuban who are black, and then of the child that's coming forth now from the African spot, do you think that that child becomes the president? Even has a chance at that? Be honest with yourself. You don't have to be honest with me. Keep it real with you. Do you think they become the president if they're not? This is white heaven. That's why I say white heaven. Fuck white supremacy. Because you don't have to be supreme in this bitch when it's your heaven. Only in your heaven can you show up, contribute virtually nothing to anything, and become the president. You know who would have won the White House if it was legal for him to go for president? Arnold Schwarzenegger would have took the White House. He's a naturalized citizen, but because he wasn't born here, he can't run for office. Had he been born here, whole nother story. Right. Right. See how that changes shit? And people like Arnold could have never been the president. I'm pretty sure there was a point where he was popular enough he could have ran for sure and did some damage a couple times, if not won the whole shit. Just throwing it out there. This is the Terminator. So when you have a situation where people just don't get it, it's like, bro, I'm not gonna argue with them. I'm not gonna argue with them. If they believe that the Terminator could not have become president, so what? So if Trump was born in Scotland where his mama was from, let's just say hypothetically his daddy went over there and knocked her up in Scotland, whatever reason he would have been over there, right? Do y'all realize? Do y'all understand that just like that, Trump is not able to run for president? Just like that. So I'm trying to get people to understand, like if he was born in Scotland, he would not be the president right now. He's anchor baby number one. We have to drive that point home because people are going to try to ignore it and act like it's not real. And they're upset and they're agitated and they're aggravated because right now we're really looking at the situation from an honest point of view. Again, if you're black like me and I'm black like you, do you think right now, if you went and you had children with any other black person, so let's take this to Africa. You go to Africa. Name one. Name one president right now who has an American-born parent, not English-born or French-born or nothing like that. American-born. Where they at? Because I think they would be getting talked about all the time. This person's an American-born. Yeah. Their mom's from America. Their dad's from America. Right? They would talk about that shit all the time. And yet, nothing. That tells me all that I need to know. And all that I need to know is that they really do not have an idea. That we're not we're not allowed to do these things. Again, Obama's half black, and he's not even like a nigga black. He's like Kenyan black. No disrespect to the Kenyans. I'm just saying, like, don't they think that it's awkward that the first person in this part of history, modern history, that they let to be a black person to get up in the White House is a dude who had questionable credentials, is essentially an anchor baby? Let it sink in for a second. Right. At least Joe Biden could say he ain't no anchor baby. Maybe 4, 5 generations back in his family, there was some anchor babies for sure. But he said, I ain't no anchor baby no more. I don't know, hold on. And we lost one in the Civil War. Hold up. Because that's how they look at that. Anybody who's sensible has a good mind to understand those types of things. Um, and anchor baby number one is just me emphasizing. You know how they say, soul brother number one, blah, 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 blah. Let's do this anchor baby number one. There ain't no anchor baby colder than this. I can't think of anybody in history. Even Alexander doesn't count because they conquered Greece. They weren't Grecian citizens. He was a Macedonian from the land of Kittim. So even that's totally different. This dude's the coldest anchor baby I've ever heard of. Ever. Can't compare him to Joseph out the Bible because Joseph wasn't born in Egypt. And as soon as he died, his children were treated like shit. And all the Israelites. So that's not even a comparison. Um, I can't think of a comparison. I can't think of anybody that has ever been so close to not being qualified for the job that they're at, getting that job, and then having to be, and then getting in the highest level at that job. I can't think of anybody. Let me think. Let me think. Mm, nope. Mm, nope. Even King Solomon doesn't count because his father's obviously an Israelite, born to a kingdom that he would be a naturalized citizen to, no matter what the race of his mother was. Um, nope. Hmm. Can't compare him to Clovis either for taking over all the tribes of the Franks and and uniting every tribe of the Franks. Can't compare him to that either. Like I don't think there's any historical equivalence to what we're witnessing, and people don't even understand what they're seeing. They have no idea. Like you're watching somebody who would otherwise, in any other case, based on the standards of the law of the land, would not be qualified to run for that level of office. I've literally sat here and I'm like trying to think of any instance, and if you can think of any instance, whether you're watching it right now, later, or whenever, if you can think of an instance where somebody, where their parents or whomever, grandparent or parent came into the land, they were born, and then they became the highest up in that land. I've never heard of it. Never. I've n- I've never heard of it. Now that I think about it, and I've read a bunch of stories in the Bible, and there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like you're just a complete stranger, Johnny come lately out of nowhere, and you just take over the whole thing. Like I said, and even Joseph, that doesn't apply to, because Joseph was a servant who worked his way all the way up. That's not what Trump did. Right on. That's not even what his grandfather did. He didn't have to. He was a shyster, just like Trump, just like his father. That's why they didn't want him back in Bavaria. Went back with all that money, but you left your courage here, and you can't get your honor or your courage back. You can stay. You can go back to America, type of stuff. But I don't think there's an instance in history where the anchor baby, anchor baby number one, like the highest level anchor baby, has ever made it to this level. And you could use Obama, but once again, Obama, his mother's half white. I mean, his mother's white, so he's already half white. It's not far fetched that he got there. It would have been way more amazing if Obama had Kenyan grandparents on either side, or something like that, like two sets of colored people for his family, and then he got up into the White House. That would have been far more impressive. But the fact that you have a white mother is kind of like, well, that's why the white folks could overlook that. They could give that nigga a pass because he's not that much of a threat. All mixed people have cultural identity issues. All of them have identity issues. I have yet to meet a mixed person that has not mixed up some, no pun intended, that is not mixed up somehow. They have to say that you can't. There's a difference between somebody who gets called light skinned, who we consider a black person, and then a mixed person. Because the mixed biracial dude or chick, they do biracial people shit. Like they'll see something racist and evil, and they'll try to like somehow make it make sense, even though the only thing that makes sense is this motherfucker's evil. That's it. That's the only thing that makes sense. But they try to rationalize it some other type of way when it's like that's totally felonious, man. Like that's bullshit, bro. But that's the earth we live on, and that's the country that we're living in, where somebody who is, again, barely qualified. This dude Trump is barely qualified to be the president. I don't know if people really understand it. Yes, it does matter. If you think I can go to another nation and pull off what he's pulled off, tell me where. Tell me where. Where can I go right now? Have black children, raise them up, and then get my black son to exclusively go get with black women, and then his black wife be from wherever. Don't even matter. Just not from there. And then that child, that son, or that daughter is able to come up to being the prime minister, the president, the whoever, the king or the queen. Show me where that's happening. Show me where. Tell me where I can go do that shit right now. I'll leave. I'm leaving America tomorrow, nigga. I'm out of here. That is not a joke. This is not a drill, homies. I'm hella serious. Tell me where I can go right now so I can raise one up. So that way in the next 50, 60 years, I'll be dead and gone, but it won't even matter though. Uh uh they have a chance to take the whole shit over. Where's that at? Tell me where. I want to know. Because people act like this is not white heaven. This is white heaven. Only in white heaven can you pull off some shit like that. Only. You can't do that shit nowhere else. I can't think of a time in my life where I was so convinced that what I was saying to myself, I'm like, yeah, Meech, you're not tripping right now, bro, at all. This dude has done something. He should be, once again, for all the white dudes who are from Spain and Portugal and all that shit, he's hope for all of them. Quiet as kept, even if they said that they didn't want him to win. Deep down, they did want him to win because he's proof that they might have a chance for their children to become somebody here. Think about that. That's crazy. They're not discouraged. Why would you be discouraged if somebody who's just like you is in the highest level of the land? So if you're a white Portuguese dude or a Spanish dude, you're like, I can get a wife that's from wherever, bring her here, knock her up. She has the baby here. The baby's a naturalized citizen. That child could become president one day. Wow. Think about how epic that is. That they're in a position that white people of all nationalities, all ethnicities, so called, are in a position to come to America and they could produce a child that could become the president. And black people still have, we have, yeah. I don't want to hear no bullshit about some black Abe Lincoln type of shit. No, I'm talking about real nigga shit. I don't hear no shit about no Warren G. Hardings or no Andrew Jacksons or none of that shit. Who I already told people a bunch of these dudes is part black anyway. It don't even that doesn't matter to me. I'm talking about when have we ever seen it in this day and age? Like my mama said, the only reason why they really killed King, Dr. King, is because if he decided that he was going to run for president, he would have won. How is he not going to win? Every black person would have. Every black person would have voted for that dude. Every one of them. This is a fact. And a bunch of white people would have voted for Dr. King too. That was the real fear of Dr. King, of him running for the presidency. Fuck getting militant. They don't want to hear that. Niggas don't want to hear that. Niggas don't even know that. They can't even fathom that. Dr. King for president? Who's beating him? Tell me who. Tell me, name one opponent who's beating Dr. King for presidency. You think JFK would have beat Dr. King? Wrong. Who? Who would have beat Dr. King? Nobody. That's who. Before he got the wild hair up his ass to try to do something like that, you got him out of there. Haven't produced stable black leaders since. They didn't get mad about it. That's the truth. Have not produced stable black leaders since. And the little, the flash in the pan, the drop in the bucket type of dudes who had their whole 2 seconds of fame, 15 minutes of fame, or went down swinging, are all the same to me. Like it should be all the same to everybody else. Them dudes, they're not king. They're not. I just don't think people understand. Dr. King wasn't a fucking anchor baby. Word. And they could tell you all this good shit about America. All these niggas talk about how they got an electric vehicle. Why is it still racist though, homie? Yeah, money's not racist. And greedy motherfuckers who want your money might not be able to be an outright bigot towards you, but it doesn't make them any less the bigot. This is the truth. White heaven, anchor babies are their lifeblood. Most of the white boys you know probably got a grandmama or grandpapa who was not from America on either side of their family. Next time you're talking to a white person and they're talking about their family or anything like that, just subtly ask them like, so did your people come here before or after the Civil War? They won't get offended because they'll know what you mean. Like, at what point did they get here? Some of them are, oh man, they didn't get here till after World War II because there was another massive influx of European immigrants around that time that people don't like to talk about because it takes away from the natural whiteness of America that they want people to believe that this country has, even though there is no such thing as that. See, when once again, when you think of an American, you don't think of a black person. You don't think of dark-skinned Native Americans, right on? You don't even think of biracial people. Think of a white dude with blue eyes and dead grass hair. Anchor baby number one, he's got all that checked off. Right. Yeah. Don't people think it's amazing that this geriatric old man now has access to nuclear codes again? And if you thought he was crazy before, he's really going to be unhinged now. If you thought he was crazy before, he's really going to be unhinged. Shit's about to pop off. Shit is about to pop off. People don't realize just how close we are to the complete and utter devastation of a whole lot of things that people hold dear and love. And it's just sad because most folks are in denial. You know, they're in denial. They just don't want to admit that, wow, we're getting closer to something that they can't come back from. They cannot make it different. Once they do whatever they're going to do, that's it. That's it. It's not going to be a, a round two or a round three or a round four or round five. This is it's just going to be, it's going to be ugly. Whether they round up immigrants or not, white boys are going to feel empowered to be doing dumb shit that they haven't felt the ability to do. I can only say that in states and in places that have been adversely affected all the way by immigration, obviously the Southwest, the Midwest are probably a little more messed up than the Pacific Northwest, or just anywhere in the North in general. Um, so I imagine that there's going to be people who obviously lash out, but they're going to do it because, anchor baby number one, he's going to give them the cover to do it. Because, like I said, they want a certain kind of person to be coming up in here. Right. They don't want. They don't mind. They don't care how many you. They don't care how many Ukrainians they have to hold up. They do not care. They'll bring a million of them over here right now, even though they don't deserve nothing. Even though they should have never been fighting with Russia in the first place. Like I said in my rick when I made that rick about the Ukraine, big and weak. However, nobody listened to me. So they got their asses stomped the fuck in, and they getting stomped the fuck out right now as right now as I speak. They are getting touched, and that's their own problem. That being said, they would gladly bring over some Ukrainians before they brought another. They'd bring in a million Ukrainians before they brought in one Mexican, one Venezuelan, one Guatemala. They don't want to bring no more of them in because they only want individuals that's going to bolster their numbers for real. Most Ukrainians don't look like Jose Guadalupe Gonzalez. They just don't. A few of them might look like they're kind of Asiatic, but that's because they're in a Euro-Asian country, you know. So that's to be expected. However, to expect that anchor baby number one, who his mother, once again, she's a Scottish immigrant. It's not like they don't come from white people breeding with other white people. That's where they come from. So that's why they feel the way that they feel. Like I said, the next time you're not too busy, just pull up a picture of Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, the other son, and pull up a picture of Barron Trump if you want to. And just look at how D. Treasy Jr. doesn't look nothing like his brothers. Nothing like his brothers. Just throwing it out there. And his mom's not American. His mom is one of them, what is she from? The Czech or something like that. But she got blue eyes. Right on. She don't got no motherfucking no dark black eyes like some of them be having from where she's from. She got blue eyes. Like I'm saying, that dude is the gardener's son. Eric Trump, even Barron Trump looks like D. Treasy. Right on. Like I can't verify that his daughters are truly his daughters, but it doesn't even matter to me. That's one of those things where it's like he got with chicks once again. His dot all most of his children are anchor babies. Barron is an anchor baby. Right. Hey, think about what I'm saying for a minute. They're all born of women that are not of the US. I think all but one of his children, Tiffany Trump, I think, is the only one that does not have a foreign mother. The rest of them got a mama that's from somewhere else. Just let that sink in. Right. They would I can't stress it enough to people, man. Anchor baby number one has did what he's supposed to do. He has. He's done exactly what he's supposed to do. He's bamboozled his way back into the situation. Folks can be mad at him for bamboozling them, but it's not like he told them to be bamboozled. It's not like he told them to be confused. So when they don't understand, like, yo, this guy is in a situation that people put him in because the people who put him in that situation, they can relate more to him than they can't relate to him. Like I said, go talk to most of the white boys that you think that you know and ask them when their people got here. And I guarantee you, the point that I'm proving, you'll be like, damn, this dude could be the president. Even though your people been here for umpteen generations. And the ability for you to be the president or the chance for you to run for president is would be solely based on how popular you are. His is based on riches and popularity. But there's no black people who have there's a few black people who have the money to run for president, but they would still want, donations and stuff like that because all that shit costs money. It's not, you don't get to run for president for free. It's not how it works. Imagine if Trump had an open, I mean, the thing is, I just don't think people understand like the point that this dude has hella criminal cases, all kinds of bullshit going on, and somehow he's the fucking president again. Whatever, dude. It's fake. That's the shit is make believe. And not that Kamala should have won. It's just that the fact that they lost the way that they lost, she got trounced. Like I said, she got her ass kicked. Somebody put her in a full Nelson and Trump just hit her with a 88-piece combo. Okay, till he got tired, right? And they had to let the body drop and hit the floor. Let's get the fuck out of here. We whooped her up good. I'm telling you, she had no chance anyway. The best chance of beating him was letting Joe Biden run. Even though people might not want to hear that, he would not have got trounced like that. But he fucked up her whole campaign when he called the Trump supporters garbage. That was it. That was a nail in the coffin right there. Right on. That nigga was trying to sabotage that shit from the whole get go when they forced him to step down. Forced him to step down. Just for old girl to get dog walked the way that she did. But hey, that's what they wanted. If that's not what they wanted, that's what they got. So before I roll up out of here in the next like 10, 12 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever it's gonna take, just take this with y'all, brothers and sisters. We will never ever be in a land that is ever gonna let us do something like what we're seeing right now. It's really unthinkable and unbelievable that this dude, this one man, has been able to take the highest office in the land again at Jane. It's unbelievable. It really is. It's like the more I look at it, the more I'm befuddled, I'm awestricken, I'm flabbergasted. You know what I mean? Straight up. I don't feel like I've been had, hoodwinked, and hornswoggled and all that shit. But when I didn't know that Trump was on the immigrante status that he's pretty much on, it didn't bother me. But now that I can see it the way for what it really is, it's like it really does piss me off. You know, it pisses me smooth the fuck off. And then people want to call that white supremacy. It's like, because this is white heaven, bro. Only in white heaven can you do that. It's not white supremacy. Call it what it is. It's white heaven. We're in their heaven. We live in their heaven. We live in their heaven. Only in a place where, again, dude just showed up last week and now he's the boss next week. What the fuck? That's pretty much what happened. No matter how you look at it. Jesse Jackson had inappropriate relations with the little young teenage or whatever secretary, little underage secretary, or whatever she was. Right on. I just know she was a young youngin. Okay. Listen, that was it. That's it. They're saying that this dude D Treasy, and you don't know what this dude has been up to. Right on. They're saying that this dude D Treasy, he's saying whatever he say, grab him by the whatever, but I don't even. That's not even the thing though. The dude has been accused of rape. The same thing that all these white boys like to do. How do we know that the money to Stormy Daniels wasn't for her to say to come out and tell the truth that he might have pressed up on her? How do we know that? You see what I'm saying? Oh, it's hush money. Hush money for what? It doesn't even make sense unless something happened that you don't want nobody to know about. That's the truth. On this note, we get ready to close up and wrap it all up. For there to be a situation in this land where somebody who has shown you that they have the propensity not only to be a draft dodger, but they have the propensity to breed out and to lessen the stock of the American gene pool by bringing in worthless third world country mud hut living ass immigrants. I don't give a fuck what part of the European diaspora they're from. When they coming from the Eastern Bloc, they're barely living better than somebody who lives in the hardest parts to live in Cambodia and shit like that. They live terrible in some of those places. Terrible in some of those places. And they did whatever God knows what to get here. So For this dude to be able to bring over, pretty much Euro trash, and for this dude to be the child of Euro trash and to be the president is amazing. And once again, I'm not saying nothing bad about nobody. This is just what it is. We've said enough. For a blessing, we've said enough. But for a blessing, we just want y'all to know that a person like that individual is not to be, I mean, not that you should, not that there was ever a reason to trust him, but he can't be trusted. He can't be trusted. You cannot trust that Trump is not going to do something evil, wicked, or trite. You have to be righteous in your judgment and tell yourself, this dude wants to see black people go down just as much as the rest of them do, even if he's not as racist. Even if he's not as racist, they don't mind standing on your shoulders to look up, y'all. I hope you continue to do the right thing. I hope you continue to have your eyes open and that the truth be revealed to you in the most obvious of ways. May tomorrow be better than today, and may your next week be better than your last. Remember that before you believe that these individuals are some sort of honorable people, that this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That the president in the office right now is a glorified anchor baby, and he is anchor baby number one. And White Heaven started with the anchor baby, and it's going to end with the anchor baby.